Hi, welcome to our fourth tutorial for this series. Now that you created your own AWS profile, you will see a page similar to this. In AWS, we call this console or home. If you don't see this page, please click this logo, the AWS logo, where you will be redirected to this page. Okay. For this tutorial, we will create a simple HTML CSS, and the HTML or CSS that we will create will be publicly available. And for this one, we will use the S3 service on creating this simple application. So to do that, just simply search S3 on the search bar and click the S3 link. Then I want you to create a bucket. So a bucket is like a container of your storage. So before I create this S3 bucket, I want to explain first to you what is S3 and the different categories of product categories of AWS. So in AWS, we have different uh, product categories, and each categories are or is used for different purposes. So for example, these three are the most popular categories. So for compute, we basically borrow the computer or the server from AWS. It's like having your own computer via cloud. For database is a storage of the data, where for example, if you're not familiar with database, think of it as a similar to an Excel file where you store your data there and can be accessed via a row and column. And for storage, this is uh, where we borrow the storage resource of AWS. So each of these categories has a service that you can use. For example, for compute, they have a service called EC2. So EC2 is similar to a virtual server that you can use for uh, deploying your application, managing your website, etc. For database, they have um, they have RDS. Wait, let me copy this. RDS. This stands for Relational Database Service. And for storage, they have S3. So right now, I don't want you to be overwhelmed by the services. I just want you to understand or have a basic overview of the AWS services. So these three are like one of the most popular services on AWS. So for this tutorial, we will be dealing with the storage, which is S3, or S3 is a storage category in AWS. So to do that, let's go back to our S3 or the AWS console, and um, let's name the bucket. So let's name this tutorial for example. Okay. So a bucket name, yeah, you can name it any name you want. And the format is hyphen separated. Let's say you want to have a space, just put a hyphen there. Then for the ACL disabled, it means you will have the full control over your bucket. Um, this is not recommended, but since what we're doing right now is we want our files to be publicly accessible, we want this to be unchecked. Then click acknowledge. You're acknowledging that when you do this, all of your files will be publicly accessible. Then for bucket versioning, it's just a way to track the version of your file or object in S3. Yeah, let's keep it disabled for now. Then for encryption, let's leave it like that. Then click create bucket. Okay, click acknowledge. Okay. Now that we have created a bucket, we can go to the bucket that we created tutorial, for example. Then we want to upload a file here. So I already have a file. So I will paste the source code or the link to the source code to uh, the description below, or I will comment it on the video. But what we want to do is we want to upload an HTML file here. So I will upload this file. Or simply, wait, let me go back to, I think I already created an AWS S3 bucket that is publicly available. So wait, I cannot connect. So for now, wait. Let's just upload for now. Okay. Now that we have uploaded the file to our bucket, which is a public bucket, you can simply open this object and copy the URL. And once you do this, you will see that it says access denied. So why is it access denied? So first of all, although we made this public, AWS requires us to set a permission for the bucket. So to do that, let's go back to the buckets list, then click the bucket file that you want to edit the permission to make it publicly readable. Then click permissions tab. Then since we already click this off, set this to off, we want to edit the policy. So in AWS, a policy is like a permission of your, so in this case, the bucket permission. So it either allows you to have an access, read access to a service or to a file. So in this tutorial, we're adding a permission for a bucket. So in AWS, we have this format. So this is a JSON format where this is the version. Just you can copy it like this. The only thing that you have to replace is the bucket name. So our bucket name is tutorial-4-example. Then click save changes. Okay, now that we applied a policy, let's now reload the web page. Okay, as you can see, I it's already publicly accessible. So if as I mentioned on our first tutorial, this AWS series is catered for software engineers. So one of the assumption that I made during this tutorial is you're already familiar with HTML and CSS. But if you're not familiar yet, feel free to search it on Google or YouTube, search another tutorial there. So if you can see, this is just a basic HTML tutorial that I created. So that's all for this tutorial, and see you on the next one. Thank you.